The top stories tonight in Y News. President Rodrigo Duterte worries about another spike in COVID-19 cases driven by the Omicron variant amid depleted government funds.
Adults who have been fully vaccinated against COVID-19 can receive their booster shots 2 to 3 months after completing their first inoculation series.
And the tandem of presidential aspirant Bongbong Marcos and vice presidential hopeful Sara Duterte emerged as the top choice in the latest election survey conducted by Pulse Asia.
Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Wednesday, December 22, 2021. I am Herlene Delgado.
Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. I'm Angelo Castro III.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media accounts and our website, untvweb.com. I am William Teo.
First in the news. The Department of Budget and Management expects President Rodrigo Duterte to sign the 2022 General Appropriations Act anytime between December 25 to 29. Senate President Vicente Soto III, meanwhile, says he will sign the enrolled bill tomorrow before transmitting to the President for his signature scheduled on the 28th. While citing an information from the Presidential Legislative Liaison Office, Senate Committee on Finance Chairperson Sonny Angara earlier said the Chief Executive will sign the budget on December 27 to access the calamity funds. Angara noted that 20 billion pesos was allocated under the calamity fund for next year, while 7 billion pesos was placed under the President's contingency fund.
Ang reason I think kaya minadali ng konti ito is dahil nga dito sa nangyari sa Typhoon Odette para January pagpasok ng bagong taon, meron ng pondo para gastusin, especially yung calamity fund, very urgent.
Acting Budget Secretary Tina Rose Maricanda says 6 billion pesos of the 10 billion peso aid to areas severely hit by Typhoon Odette will be coming from next year's budget.
2 billion pesos is already available under the NDREAM-F, which is the long name of Calamity Fund. The next 2 billion is available under the President's Contingent Fund, and the remainder of the 6 million will be available in a couple of days once the GAA or the General Appropriations Act is signed for 2022.
Meanwhile, the Metro Manila Council also approved a resolution approving a 100 million pesos supplemental fund for disaster relief in the ravaged areas. The palace expresses its gratitude to Metro Manila mayors as well as the international communities for extending help and support to typhoon victims.
President Rodrigo Duterte expresses his concern over the possible surge of Omicron variant cases in the country. The chief executive also advises the use of face shields on top of a face mask again. Rosalie Cos explains why.
Various countries are experiencing COVID-19 resurgence due to the more transmissible Omicron variant. Currently, the Philippines has reported 3 imported cases of the new strain. But President Rodrigo Duterte admitted he is greatly worried of the Omicron, which might spread in the country and cause another surge. This is because the government's budget for the year is already depleted.
Ang ano ko lang is kung it would be as bad as the previous viruses already nandito, medyo natatakot lang ako, somehow kinakabahan ako kasi let me be frank to the public, depleted na yung pera talaga ng Pilipinas. even coping up with the growing expenses for the typhoon victims.
The government will get more funds when the national budget for 2022 takes into effect. However, for the chief executive, the Philippines cannot afford another surge before that happens.
Ang problema lang, far and between the months, the days that coming our way, celebration and all, baka nga makalusot talaga yung Omicron as earlier than expected. Yun ang tinatakot ko. It should require a huge expenditure again.
Health experts estimate Omicron could be 25 to 50% more contagious than the Delta variant. And the World Health Organization mentioned the new variant of concern is spreading at a rate the world have not seen with any previous variant. Out of concern, President Duterte again encouraged the public to wear face shields.
Kaya yung talagang gusto kayo matamaan, huwag ninyong itapon yung shield. Continue using it. I advise you. Because I really firmly believe that the wearing of that face shield has contributed a lot. I cannot quantify or by what percentage, but just a gut feeling na yung kasi tayo bababa na tayo ngayon.
However, the palace said the president is just reminding the public that face shield is an added layer of protection against COVID-19 and this remains voluntary in alert level 2 areas. Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Meanwhile, amid the threat of the Omicron variant, the Department of Health or DOH shortened the wait time for a COVID-19 vaccine booster. Aiko Miguel explains why.
Effective today, December 22, interval for the administration of boosters is shortened to 3 months after the approval of the Food and Drug Administration. According to the National Vaccination Operations Center, there are 19.3 million Filipinos eligible for booster shots. FDA Director General Eric Domingo explains they are cutting the interval amid the threat brought by the Omicron variant of concern. Booster doses are added layer of protection against the more transmissible variant Omicron.
The mga early data show na a third dose, kahit anong vaccine, mukhang has a positive effect when it comes to protection against the Omicron variant.
Also, according to the vaccine experts panel, people should boost their protection as there's waning immunity after vaccination.
With this on hand, since we don't want the protection will wane, especially for this Omicron variant, which is highly transmissible, so we want to maintain that infectious disease blocking of the vaccine. And by doing so, you need to give the booster so that you have a higher neutralizing antibody with these vaccines by giving the third dose against the Omicron variant. You don't wait for 6 months, because if you wait for 6 months, then definitely between 4, 5, 6, higher risk of getting the infection.
The Food and Drug Administration explains the administration of booster doses is timely, given that there are already 3 imported cases of Omicron in the Philippines.
Kung tayo ay nakakompleto na ng vaccine at time na tayo for the booster, then maaari na po tayong pumunta para bago tumalat yung Omicron, we can get as much protection as we can.
Some residents already took their time today to get their booster doses.
Whether it be first or second dose or already a booster, they must. Kasi how else? Ito yung vaccine for this kind of virus, so we might as well take it.
I think this is the best time dahil nga we're going into the new year na rin. So better na prepared tayo, lalo na festivities na coming. So better na protected na tayo while may available pang vaccines.
FDA explained that boosters may still be given even after 6 months.
Kunin pa rin po nila yung booster kasi ano pa rin yun, may effect pa rin siya, nagigisingin pa rin niya uli yung immune response mo and will have a positive effect. So hindi po porke lumagpas na kayo ng 6 na buwan, hindi nyo na itutuloy.
Health authorities are calling those unvaccinated to get their COVID-19 jab for protection and to cut COVID-19 infection. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
A directive from the National Vaccine Operations Center, NVOC, was released, extending the Bayanihan Bakunahan 2 until December 31 in areas affected by Typhoon Odette. NVOC also pushes for the administration of the 9 million single-dose Janssen COVID-19 vaccines. Eileen Cerudo will tell us why.
The national government remains optimistic that the country will reach the 54 million target of fully vaccinated individuals by the end of the year. With the onslaught brought by Typhoon Odette, several areas still have not resumed their vaccination rollout since relief and recovery operations are prioritized. Despite this, acting presidential spokesperson Secretary Carlo Nograles said vaccination efforts will continue until the vaccination target is reached.
We'll continue to ramp up our vaccination efforts, and we will still continue to stick with the 54 million target by end of 2021.
As part of ramping up the country's vaccination rollout, the National Vaccine Operations Center released a directive extending the Bayanihan Bakunahan 2 until December 31 in areas affected by the typhoon. Metro Manila, Ilocos Region, Central Luzon, Calabarzon, Cordillera Administrative Region, and other areas unaffected by the onslaught were also directed to increase their vaccination target, while affected provinces can lower their target numbers. The vaccination rollout will prioritize individuals ready for their second dose to reach the 54 million target. For unvaccinated individuals, NVOC recommends administering the 9 million single-dose Janssen COVID-19 vaccine to help boost the numbers.
We are looking at using all the 9 million na dumating para maka-reach tayo ng 54 million. Pero alam natin na kailangan double, tripling effort, especially in many areas.
We are mindful, aware, and sensitive to the realities on the ground, especially para dun sa mga tinamaan ng Typhoon Odette. And we know that local government units na tinamaan ng Typhoon Odette will still be very busy in all their repair, rehab, recovery efforts para sa kanilang mga kababayan. So those na hindi masyado o di gaano apektado dun sa pananalasa nitong Typhoon Odette, we will call upon them to ramp up the vaccination efforts.
Since the national government began the national vaccination from December 15 to 21, over 5 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines have been administered in different parts of the country, while 103 million doses have been administered since the country began its vaccination rollout. 45 million of those are fully vaccinated. Eileen Cerudo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Philippines today logged 261 more cases of COVID-19, pushing the nationwide tally of confirmed infections to 2,837,784. The Department of Health, or DOH, said the latest count brought the country's active cases to 9,238. Of these cases, 3,153 are mild, 3,400 are moderate, 1,801 are severe, 507 are asymptomatic, and 377 are in critical condition. Meanwhile, total recoveries rose to 2,777,630 after 395 more patients recovered from the disease. COVID-related deaths climbed to 50,916, with 122 new fatalities. All accredited testing laboratories in the country were operational on December 19. But 5 laboratories failed to submit data on time. Meanwhile, the overall global COVID-19 caseload has reached 276.2 million, while deaths have surged to 5.3 million, according to the Johns Hopkins University. The U.S. is still the worst-hit country, followed by India and Brazil.
The number of confirmed deaths due to Typhoon Odette has climbed to 177 with 275 wounded and 38 missing. Latest data from the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRRMC, showed a total of 1,382,252 persons, or 368,063 families were affected by the storm in 3,473 barangays in Mimaropa, Bicol, Western Visayas, Central Visayas, Eastern Visayas, Northern Mindanao, Davao, Socsargen, Caraga, and the Bangsamoro region. Of the 239 cities and municipalities that have experienced power outages, 34 areas have already restored power supply. About 135 areas in Mimaropa, Central Visayas, Eastern Visayas, Northern Mindanao, Caraga, and Bangsamoro are still having difficulty accessing communication services. The agency also reported a total of 15,618 damaged houses due to the impact of the typhoon. President Rodrigo Duterte has placed regions hit by Odette under a state of calamity.
The Department of Energy warns profiteers of oil commodities in the calamity-stricken areas in Visayas and Mindanao amid the supply shortage. JP Nunez reports.
The Department of Energy has received reports that there are individuals taking advantage of selling petroleum products at a rate of 90 to 100 pesos per liter in areas affected by Typhoon Odette. DOE explains their inspection personnel are already on ground to monitor and report those who are allegedly selling petroleum products through overpriced retailing.
Mabilis pong maipasok doon yung violation na yan under the Consumer Act, though hindi sa Price Act. So papasok po yung penalty under Section 60, if I'm not mistaken. May monetary penalty po yan at imprisonment. Where the challenge now is for the inspectors to be able really to document yung stations, specific stations na gumagawa ng ganyang quote-unquote overpricing. At kasama po na nag-ooperate sa inspections ang ating CIDG.
So no need to panic, no need to rush and hoard, no? Don't do that because it will make our problems mas mahirap for your community. So bayanihan tayo, you have that assurance that we have sufficient petroleum products.
In a memorandum released by DOE, the public are advised to be vigilant and report those exploiting the situation and collaborate with the authorities for complaints and immediate action. They are mandating oil companies to fast-track rehabilitation efforts to their facilities and retail outlets for the immediate delivery of fuel supply to those affected areas or provinces that are considered critical, need to be prioritized for fuel delivery. These are Siargao Island, Cebu Province, Bohol Province, Butuan City, Jose Panganiban in Camarines Norte, Province of Guimaras, Negros Occidental, and Oriental. Oil companies also need to accommodate and give preference to those facilities which need most fuel supply. Priority lanes or dedicating a station may be implemented for more efficient scheme of dispatch. This includes storage facilities for COVID-19 vaccines, hospitals, power-related facilities, and other entities needed for relief, response, and recovery operations. DOE already coordinated with the Philippine Coast Guard and Philippine Ports Authority for the island areas which were challenging to reach due to the effect left by typhoon.
We need to focus on the island operations muna.
Okay.
And providing the petroleum products needed for the gensets in the area, especially the hospitals. So we also have been reiterating the need to preserve the vaccines where they are so that we can provide the necessary assistance.
JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The government's free public transportation ends today. The Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board, however, prepares for its re-implementation in 2022. Asher Kadapan Jr. reports.
The government realizes the benefits of the service contracting program to the operators and drivers of public utility vehicles as well as to the riding public. This was after the phase 2 of the program as well as its free ride benefit ends today. It has allotted all the 3 billion peso fund from the 2021 General Appropriations Act. Based on the latest data of the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board, over 40 million ridership were recorded under the free ride benefit of the Service Contracting Program Phase 2. About 2.3 billion peso payouts were also promptly disbursed to participating PUV operators, while the rest of the payments are continuously being processed by the LTFRB together with the Land Bank of the Philippines. With these, the agency pushes the re-implementation of the program in 2022. LTFRB Technical Division Head Joel Bolano says its budget allocation and approval are currently under the Senate and Congress deliberation, but the agency target its re-implementation within the first quarter of next year.
Actually, napakaganda ho yung experiences natin for the phase 1 and 2 na palagay ko medyo mapapaganda pa rin ho natin yung phase 3 ho natin. So until and unless makita natin na mapirmahan na yung budget for 2022, ang target siguro usually release yun February or March. But as early as this time, as early as January, nagpe-prepare na po LTFRB for that.
Several PUV drivers, on the other hand, favor the implementation of the Service Contracting Program Phase 3.
Pabor po para sa aming mga driver. Kasi po, unang-una po, hindi na po kami namumroblema sa boundary ng PM.
Okay naman yung service contracting kasi unang-una, nakakuha na yung kikitain namin, andyan na agad. Kumbaga, yung ngayon kasi, pahirapan, maghanap ka ng pasahero.
Public commuters benefiting from the free ride also expressed their gratitude and value of the program to common citizens.
Pero thankful pa rin sa government kasi nagbibigay sila ng mga libreng sakay. Sana po mag-extend lang ulit.
Sana magtuloy-tuloy muna. Kasi hindi pa tayo halos nakakaahon sa nangyayari sa ating bansa, di ba? Maraming pang mas mahirap na katulad natin na inaasahan ng libre sakay.
For inquiries regarding service contracting program, concerned citizens may contact the LTFRB Program Implementing Unit Office with phone number 8529-7111, local 845, or LTFRB 24/7 hotline 1342. Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Department of Trade and Industry seized over 500 pieces of unlicensed fireworks brands in Bocaue, Bulacan. Janice Inhente has the story.
Few days before the holiday celebration, the Department of Trade and Industry conducted an inspection on fireworks stores in Bocaue, Bulacan. The DTI examined the manufactured fireworks if it has a product safety seal, proving that it went through the right process, passed quality control, and are safe to use. Out of 26 fireworks stores inspected by the DTI in Bocaue, Bulacan, 3 retailers have found selling unlicensed brands of fireworks. Over 500 pieces of firework brands with fake PS mark seized by the DTI.
Hindi nga po, ang alam lang po kasi namin, basta may PS mark, okay na. Hindi alam na fake yung PS mark? Hindi po, kasi basta nakita namin may ganon, okay na siya. Wala, basta po ang sabi nila, may ganon, meron ng PS mark ang diamond, so yun yung pinanghawakan po namin.
Fake na license, kasi fake na PS mark, wala siyang license number, ibig sabihin, wala siyang certification from DTI. Itong operation natin today, 3 lang na stores ang merong NOV.
Tapos yung items ka, konti lang?
Konti lang rin ang items. We have mga 11 product types na nakuha, pero maliliit na volume lang rin.
The 3 retailers received a notice of violation and have been given 48 hours to explain. A fine of 7 to 25,000 pesos, or depending on the quantity of confiscated fireworks, will be imposed on a retailer proven to have violated guidelines. While unlicensed manufacturer of fireworks will face 300,000 pesos and 1 year in prison. Based on the Bureau of Philippine Standard, there are only 6 fireworks manufacturers in the country that have license and permit to operate from DTI. Meanwhile, according to the DTI's observations, compared to last year, there are now fewer sellers that have been found selling illegal fireworks in Bukawi, Bulacan.
So compared to last year, natuto na rin yung mga retailers natin, hindi na sila masyadong nagbebenta ng uncertified products. Konti na lang yung nakita natin ngayon, which is good. At least alam natin na aware na din yung retailers na magbenta lang kung ano lang yung lisensyado ng DTI.
The DTI advises the public that the fireworks they buy should have a safety seal to ensure that they pass the proper testing and are safe to use. Janice and Hente, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Presidential aspirant Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr.'s camp hopes that all issues arising from his alleged non-payment of taxes will be finally put to rest. Dante Amento tells us why, live. Dante, go ahead.
Good evening, Diego. Attorney Vic Rodriguez, former Senator Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. spokesperson and chief of staff, presented a copy of certification from the Bureau of Internal Revenue, or BIR, this afternoon. The document, issued last December 9, 2021, shows Marcos made full payment on December 27, 2001, his tax deficiencies, including interest and fines for the period covering from 1982 to 1985, amounted to a total of 67,137.27 pesos. Attorney Rodriguez stressed the BIR records or record invalidates and quashes the alleged mother of lies propagated by some petitioners to derail Marcos's presidential bid in the 2022 polls.
Wala hong pagkakautang si Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. na buwis or tax deficiency or penalty or interest. Bayad ho at binayaran na matagal ng panahon nung date paid December 27, 2001.
Rodriguez particularly was referring to a petition filed by a group and represented by former Supreme Court spokesman Attorney Duterte. And petitioners recently showed a certification from Quezon City RTC allegedly stating there is no record that Marcos paid his taxes and fines for the 1995 RTC and 1997 Court of Appeals decisions.
Ipinakita ko na ho yung aming ebidensya at I guess this will give some source of joy, cheers and smile to the supporters of Bongbong Marcos and Mayor Inday Sara Duterte.
Diego, with this, Marcos's camp hopes the issue of BBM's non-payment of taxes will be put to an end. And that's our latest live from Quezon City. Back to you, Diego.
Thank you, Dante Amento, reporting live from Quezon City.
Former Senator Bongbong Marcos Jr. has emerged as the top choice for president in the latest Pulse Asia Research survey. 53% of the respondents chose Marcos as their presidential bet if the May 2022 elections were held today. He was followed by Vice President Lani Robredo with 20%, while Manila Mayor Isko Moreno Domagoso and Senator Manny Pacquiao both placed third, garnering 8% each. Senator Panfilo Lacson follows with 6%. For Vice President, Marcos's running mate, Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio, topped the list with 45%. She was followed by Senate President Vicente Soto III with 31% and Senator Francis Kiko Pangilinan with 12%. Pulse Asia's December 2021 survey was conducted from December 1 to 6, 2021, using face-to-face interviews with 2,400 Filipino adults nationwide.
For the news abroad, the World Health Organization's European chief warned countries about an upcoming storm of COVID-19 Omicron variant cases as it further sweeps across the continent. Marvi Delfin will tell us why live. Yes, Marvi, go ahead. Marielle, WHO Regional Director for Europe and Belgium Dr. Hans Kluge, in a news conference on Tuesday, calls out governments and authorities to brace the countries for a significant surge in Omicron cases that will cause a widespread burden on healthcare systems. Authorities expect more hospitalizations as new COVID-19 infections are reported every day. Kluge added that Omicron will dominate most countries in the region just within the next few weeks. On top of ongoing Delta cases, WHO has already estimated a further 700,000 deaths by March next year, as Europe continues to record the highest number of cases in the world. According to WHO Director General Dr. Tedros, Omicron is spreading significantly faster than the Delta variant, and reinfections could occur in vaccinated individuals or in those who have already recovered from the disease.
There is now consistent evidence that Omicron is spreading significantly faster than the Delta variant. And it's more likely that people who have been vaccinated or have recovered from COVID-19 could be infected or reinfected.
Kluge advised that a COVID-19 booster is the single most effective defense against the latest variant, especially for those that are at high risk of developing severe disease. Additionally, countries including Germany, Sweden, and Spain have already tightened a number of social restrictions. Meanwhile, UK has denied any further tightening of restrictions before the end of year events and will still go ahead with relaxing self-isolation periods. Marielle?
Marvin, what are the latest findings for the Omicron variant?
Marielle, Omicron is now widespread in 38 out of 53 countries in Europe, including UK, Denmark, and Portugal, and has far surpassed the Delta variant. Initial reports of early Omicron cases showed that 89% of them displayed common symptoms such as a cough, fever, and sore throat. Marielle, most cases were related to adults between the ages of 20 to 30 years old, spreading quickly in social gatherings and places. Back to you, Marielle.
Thank you, Marvidal Finn, reporting live from Australia. AstraZeneca and Oxford University targets to produce a vaccine specific to the Omicron variant. Ia De Vera will give us the details live. Good evening, Ia. Please go ahead.
Good evening, Marielle. British-Swedish pharmaceutical company AstraZeneca plc, in partnership with Oxford University, have joined other vaccine makers in developing an Omicron-specific vaccine. Research group leader at Oxford, Sandy Douglas, said that adenovirus-based vaccines such as those made by Oxford AstraZeneca could be used to respond to any new variant more rapidly. In a lab study last week, it was found that the AstraZeneca vaccine's antibody cocktail Evusheld retained neutralizing activity against the Omicron variant. Meanwhile, Pfizer-BioNTech and Moderna have previously announced that they are also working on vaccines targeting the Omicron variant, with Moderna hoping to start clinical trials early next year. Marielle?
Thank you, Ia De Vera, reporting live from New Zealand. 500 million rapid home testing kits will be distributed to U.S. residents in January 2022 for free. Joselito Liquido will tell us why live. Yes, Joselito, please go ahead.
Good evening, Marielle. Further government support was announced by the U.S. President Joe Biden in a bid to help residents tackle the surging Omicron variant. 500,000 COVID rapid tests will be made available at no cost.
I've arranged to purchase 500 million testing kits for at-home testing, so you can know whether or not you've been exposed, whether you have any element of the virus, because Omicron spreads so easily. And so, but the most important thing is, these tests you can get at home, and they're going to be free. But in the meantime, get vaccinated. Get vaccinated. Get the booster shot.
The free home test kits can be ordered online and is promised to be sent by mail to each requester at no cost. Current estimated market price for the home test kit in the US is between $15 to $30, considerably more expensive compared to Australia with $7 each, while Germany cost only $1. In addition, the government also announced an increased support for hospitals under strain. The first and new federal support testing site will be established in New York this week, and through the authority given to the President Biden via the Defense Production Act, private companies may be asked to prioritize government orders to manufacture more tests. It is believed that the U.S. will need 2.3 billion tests per month for 12-year-old and above in order to comply with the recommended test frequency of twice a week. Marielle?
Thank you, Joselito Liquidor, reporting live from Malaysia. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres urges Lebanon's leaders to respond to their population's grievances and calls for international support to the country. Maeve Dog will tell us why live. Good evening, Maeve. Please go ahead.
Marielle, hundreds of thousands of families in Lebanon are in need of humanitarian aid as economic crisis continues to worsen and 3/4 of its population has now fallen into poverty. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres landed in the capital Beirut on Sunday for a solidarity visit which ended on Tuesday. He met with the political leaders and urged them to end its political paralysis after not meeting for more than 2 months due to disagreements on the Beirut port blast investigation, street clashes in October, and ongoing diplomatic dispute with the countries Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, the United States, and Kuwait.
These past 2 days, I have urged Lebanon's political leaders to work to implement reforms that respond to the demands of the Lebanese people for greater welfare, accountability, protection and transparency in order to restore hope for a better future.
Mr. Guterres also called for the international community to sustain aid to the Lebanese army and increase their support for the country's security.
The international community must be ready to substantially increase its solidarity with Lebanon in the implementation of the needed reforms to stabilize the economy and address the basic needs of the Lebanese people. Let's not forget that the UN Humanitarian Response Plan is only 11% funded despite the dramatic situation of the Lebanese people.
Meanwhile, upon discussions of the parliamentary elections for 2022, Mr. Guterres also stressed the country's need for formal negotiations with the International Monetary Fund, or IMF, for a bailout program and to hold the elections. Marielle?
Maeve, can you elaborate how the agreement with the International Monetary Fund may help restore Lebanon?
Marielle, the IMF assists countries that are hit by crisis by providing financial support to create a breathing room for them while they are implementing adjustment policies. In this case, Marielle, Lebanon officials will have to present a recovery plan to kickstart the negotiations with IMF. And once they have reached an agreement, this unlocks billions of financial assistance, which will help restructure and repair Lebanon's economy. Back to you, Marielle.
Thank you, Maeve Dog, reporting live from Australia. In other news, the researchers discovered the fossilized egg of a rare baby dinosaur in southern China. The baby dinosaur is estimated to be about 70 million years old. It is believed to be a toothless theropod dinosaur or Oviraptorosaur. Named as Yingliang, the preserved dinosaur measures 27 centimeters long from head to tail and rests inside a 6.7-inch long egg at the Yingliang Stone Nature History Museum in China. The egg was first uncovered in 2000, but put into storage for 10 years. And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I am Mariela Toza reporting live from Perth, Australia. Good evening.
And before we close, we will leave you with a word, giving glory to God. From the book of Proverbs, chapter 11, verse 9, it says, "An hypocrite with his mouth destroyeth his neighbor, but through knowledge shall the just be delivered." reasons behind the news, December 22, 2021. I am Herlene Delgado.
Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I'm Angelo Castro III.
And because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.